just now and not when we went into the national team break?
Yes, of course. The timing was starting with the latest developments yesterday that I informed Frederick in the afternoon about his release, and also that was the time when we signed and announced Steve and later also Alan Tate as his assistant. The timeline from before, the week before, I met Steve for the first time, end of the week. And that was after an evaluation meeting together with the board, after the transfer market was over, and also I wanted to have it only be done with a distance to the last matches, because we just dropped out Strasbourg on Thursday. We had Midtjylland on the weekend, so I wanted to have this evaluation distant to be from the last matches.
So the decision was made after the Midtjylland game, with you on the board.
It was definitely after the Midtjylland game, and it was definitely not immediately after the Midtjylland game. You may remember that we had one more day on the transfer market to bring players in. We had one more day even to bring one player out. So Clement was even done after the window closed in Denmark, because Austria was longer open. And after that, we did the evaluation and as well taking the decision. We had a short list of candidates. The number one on that list I met at the first. That was Steve, and it materialized. And at the end, all ends had to be connected to execute on that, and that was finally been done yesterday.
But it seems like a decision that's been going on quite a while, because I imagine Steve is not an easy guy to get here, so it takes a lot of talks to get him to take the job. So have you been talking to Steve before you made the decision with Birk?
No, it's always that you have to, if you want to act professional as a club, you always need to have names available. And of course, we knew that he was a free agent, so he was on that list, obviously for a long time, as many other names as well. But I met him for the first time end of last week to get a personal meeting with him, to get to know if this could work out. Of course, we did a lot of background research, as we always do for all candidates, but that is an ongoing process. The way we recruit players, we also have to be on that position and on staff. That's just the professional way how we do it, and I'm sure all other clubs handle it in the same way.
How much was it also a name that was on your shortlist, Benjamin, and the cooperation with Scott McLachlan, the department?
No, it's a common shortlist, so it finds the names on it from people that know the situation of coaches. So of course free agents find the names onto it. It's no secret that we have different networks that is coming with GFH, with people from this club that have been here in Denmark. My network in Germany, so it's a strong one, and we put it all together and put names down from that. But it's a common list, and he was for long on the list and also on my list.
How did Birk react to this news?
Very professional, I need to say, and he acted also very professional in the weeks and months before that. So he took it. He knows that it's part of the football business. It's never nice. It's never nice for the one that is that is in the situation. In this case, Frederick, is also nice for me to lose one of the people working closely with. So it's definitely not a nice situation, but he was highly professional.
Why was it necessary to take this action?
That was an assessment more or less going backwards from my arrival. So we took into account the last season. We took into account what we did in the beginning of the season, in the pre-season, also how we started, and then obviously also the last matches and the developments that we had lately. Overall, we came to the conclusion that we had a lot of up and downs, so we're lacking a little bit in stability, and the overall development was just not the direction that we would have hoped for. And that was the time where we said, okay, in the first national break, we will evaluate, we will put everything together, down to the table, discuss it, and come to a conclusion. And that's what happened, and was finally been done and executed yesterday, as you could all read.
But 8 months is not a very long time in football. So why do you think you ended up in that conclusion Birk being in the job for such a short period?
The period is not the most decisive factor, and if you say 8 months is not a long period, I think that's true. On the other side, we had the situation that Frederik took over more or less together with me at the same time, with not having really much of a preparation. So we maneuvered ourselves through the last season. We set together what do we want to do for the new season? How do we want to have the expression on the field, off the field? And then we reevaluate on that as well. And I can just say the conclusion was that we think we're not exactly on that path that we wish to be as a club, also myself. And then it's just the right thing to say we have to change things when we think it's the time for it.
Looking back, Benjamin, he of course signed a multi-year contract. Looking back, would you have done anything differently in terms of giving him a shorter period to prove himself?
Now, contract is not always about just the length. There's many things in a contract which you will understand. I will not comment on. But no, I wouldn't do anything different in that regards, because everything has been taken care of in all aspects. It was the desire to go further than the 8 months. That is for sure. But it's also when you feel you're not on track, then I think it's just a professional decision to change direction.
Benjamin, can you explain the decision of not having the evaluation before the closure of the transfer window, because could have had a say in your direction of the players coming in?
Yes, that's correct. But you cannot see it as one evaluation which hasn't been done 8 months before as a frequent assessment that you do. It is frequently that you discuss things even on every single transfer, on every single decision that you made. So it's not just sitting down once and then having a decision. Is a process, and is a regular assessment that you have throughout almost every week, every month. But this was the time where we know there was an international break, so there's a little bit of a calm down to look back and act without having the emotion. The weeks before, we had every 3-4 days we had a match, and it was always like the result that affects the thoughts, at least in the emotional side. And I'm pretty sure that, or I know it from my experience. Each decision that you take out of emotions may not be the one which you would take in a rational setup. So I was searching for a rational setup, which was provided by the international break. So that was really the one where we put it down to the table. But the assessment is ongoing through the whole time.
But if the assessment was ongoing, and why did you give him a longer leash if you had up and down experiences with the performances?
Yeah, because the assessment that is going on. He was always part of it. So we were discussing how we can develop it, how we can get on the track that we want. At the end, I understand your question, but this also indicates that there would be never a right timing, to be honest. So, as I explained just now, I think that was the first time when it became a little bit more quiet to have the assessment, to sit down, evaluate, and act accordingly.
How did you attract a Premier League manager? Did you promise him a shift of gears, a higher budget in the winter transfer window?
No, I think the main job has been done by the club itself, because he was, from the first moment, he was quite attracted by Brøndby as a club. Everything that he knows from it, of course, he knows the past and the history of the club. He was extremely well informed when I met him about the club, about the setup, about the fans, about the structure of the Danish league. He really believes that he takes over a club which can take the next step, and that he can be the right person to even lift it to the next level. It is not a secret. When I started here, I expressed more or less the same agenda for myself. So yeah, we're definitely aiming for bringing it to the next level, and he was highly attracted by the project and by the club itself.
He have already spoken fondly of Masterclass, of course, and his history with developing young players is well documented. Have you guys picked up references from one of the guys coming through Masterclass Academy, Mads Hermansen, who we had enlisted?
I was not talking to Mads, but of course we did a lot of background research. And for us, it is important because masterclass is one of the key strategical pillars that we have. So it is important to have a coach that is also fully aligned with that strategy. And he has a proven record of bringing through young players. He won the World Championship with the under-17 in England. Of course, that's a few years ago, but also in his clubs, he always was working with younger players to develop them. And development is also one of his key strengths, which came out not only in the discussion I had with him, but also in the background check. And of course, we had references to speak to, but you will also understand that I will not name it.
Would Mads be a good candidate to speak to?
He would be probably a good candidate to speak to, but I didn't use him as a reference.
You said that you lacked some development. I guess that's also regarding what you see on the pitch. What are you hoping to achieve by appointing Steve Cooper, like in the development of the what we see on the pitch?
Yeah, I think when you look back on Steve's career, I think he had the most successful time in Nottingham. Like, of course, excluding now the youth pathway with the FA. But with Nottingham, he took them over in a situation where he had to stabilize, and within a short time, he really made sure that it was a group of people, players, but also staff. Everyone was really aligned for one goal, and he could really work with a team that was comprised to work into the top flight of the championship at this time. And this is also where I'm attracted, where Brøndby is attracted as a club. This kind of playing style that he approached there comes very close to what we think is the right setup for us. So we want to have that, what he has shown with Nottingham, because you cannot compare, for example, his time at Leicester when taking over someone that was just promoted. You have to be more pragmatic, and that's also what I really like about Steve. He is extremely pragmatic about the situation, while still having a very clear idea of how he wants to play, and that includes a very intense game style, possession-based but intense, and also high-pressing structure. So these are the things that we always pointed out as part of the development of Brøndby. That's the values of this club that has been always displayed from the people that have been far longer here than myself, and I think we need to work that out even more than we did it before.
Some would say that Birk maybe was left too alone because he publicly said that he needed an assistant more. Did he get the help that he needed?
Yeah, of course we were discussing all these things, and also to strengthen the staff all around him. For me, it would be much too easy to point only to that. He always had the support given by myself, and he was never lacking in numbers. We were just about to sign someone external to also add up to that. But we had at the time Turbo Bent following, and also at the time when Turbo left, we had it been covered by numbers. So he was always supported in the right way.
But you could also say that this season we let go of many profiles from the starting 11. So this first part of the season would be a build-up season. So can you get a little closer to where the development lacked? Because
that's true, and that also refers back to the evaluation, because you always have to take this into consideration, because it's exactly right what you say. You have to develop a new squad. There's a lot of movements that we had in the transfer window, so you have to take that into consideration by taking a decision as we took. So that's also that everyone can understand that it was not so easy and just black or white, and it's not only always just one person to be changed, and things might change immediately. 180 degrees. We're not naive on that, but still on the conclusion of the evaluation, that also seeing the squad that we have together and seeing the development which we take didn't display the expectation that we had, and that's why bottom line that was the conclusion.
Is this the staff now, Benjamin, or will there be any other changes on short-term basis with the Indian?
I said it earlier. It's a frequent assessment that also goes for the whole organization, that goes for the players. Of course, Steve is taking over with Alan at this moment, who he brought as an assistant coach. We have a good staff around it, which I fully trust. And of course, now it's about getting to know each other and see how things develop from there. it's hard to say there will be this going on or that going on, but it's of course they have to meet each other, find each other, and we need a strong group of people that is all heading to the same direction.
You have already, I mean, of course, yourself and also with Julius coming in now, Steve and Alan, have you thought about the point that you also have to be careful not bringing in too many foreign faces in a local cup like Brøndby?
Of course, you always consider what is the heritage of the club. You are in a foreign country, so you always have that in the back of the mind. For me, the most important, and I think that's internationally and not nationally, is how much, to what extent is the fit to the club. So can the Brøndby DNA and the Brøndby identity, can that be reflected by the people? And I can just say, everyone that I brought in from my time being here is so far a perfect fit to what we want in this club. So for me, this is the most important, that we serve Brøndby in this case, and I serve as a German as much as I would serve as a Danish, and this is also the same way Steve will see it coming from abroad. There's loads of respect for the club, for the people that live with the club each day for long. We know about our responsibility, and that's not a national thing. It's a thing that we respect and even encourage and emphasize on the DNA of the club, and we're doing it in the best way.
You're not really mentioning the results, not in the press release, not today. How big a factor was the results on the flag for the dismissal?
Nah, results is one part. I tend to look on the performances first, because good performances lead to good results, mainly, at least over a long period of time. Results can be, I mean, we could have drawn easily against Midtjylland without the additional time, but that wouldn't have changed so much of the evaluation that we did. So we have to look on the facts that we have in terms of what are the decisive factors for us performing the right way. And then, of course, we believe that our performance that we demand will lead into results. So the results is, I don't want to call it a side effect, that would be far too low, because results is part of the game. It's even the most important part of the game. But solely looking onto results would have been a bad assessment, in my opinion. It is part of the assessment, but it's not the only assessment.
Reading the press release, there's also some phrases about winning mentality and wanting it to be back in Brøndby, like in the walls out here. How do you work with that? Yeah, how do you do that?
Yeah, that's really something when you meet Steve, and I had this impression when I met him in person, that he is full of energy, full of positive energy, full of positivity. So he comprises being a positive and humble character and demanding on the same time. So that is really something that I think is a perfect fit to this club. Don't take yourself too serious. Don't take yourself as the one man of the show. He doesn't do that. He wants to bring it together in full force in that direction. So I really think that he can be one of the pieces, really bringing it forward, leading the coaching staff and the players to a mentality that we go out with full confidence and play to the way that we can, in terms of confidence, but also in terms of quality.
In general, when a new coach comes in, how long do you think is fair for him to work with the squad and before judging him?
I think you will judge him immediately on Saturday, and that's also part of the deal, and we all know that. That is, we know part of the game. We know the entertainment factor, and we know that on Saturday people will come into our stadium and expecting the best performance, and we're expecting the best performance from our team as well, regardless of what happened the last days. So how much is the time? You cannot specify it, because it will be ongoing, and he has to deliver together with his people and with the players from day one, from today actually. So he will be assessed from the first moment. But of course, some of the things you will see just over time, over a few weeks and even a few months.
And so, what are the defined expectations for Steve Cooper?
Excuse me?
What are the defined expectations for Steve Cooper at Brøndby?
Yeah, that he brings energy to it, that he brings the experience to it, working with players who, if you do the background research, you know that he always has really close relation to the players, to the staff, that he really brings it brings it all together for one goal. So that is the first goal, to bring everything together, to find something. You can call it winning mentality. You can also bring it down to everyone together, forceful in one direction. And I'm pretty sure he will do that rather sooner than later. And then, of course, we want to be successful immediately, winning matches. Over the time, over the period, we want to achieve our goals. We want to win as much matches as possible towards the winter. Then having another preseason and working, hopefully moving into the championship round and playing a good role in there. So we want to be as successful as possible in this year and build it up over the next years in a way that we can also make steps towards the ones on top of the table.
It's a tough business. Birk getting fired in the afternoon yesterday. Will he be able to come back and say his goodbyes to the squad?
Of course he will, and he also wants that. And I think it's just a natural thing that you say goodbye. He also said, and that really speaks for him. He said he will not do that this week, because this week will be all for the new. This week will be for the team to be prepared for Saturday. But yes, of course he will. We have to separate the personality from the decision that we think we have to make, and there's absolutely nothing between us in a personal way. So for me, it's just natural business that he comes in, says goodbye, and has a proper way of shaking hands with everyone.
What was behind the decision of him managing the training match yesterday?
That he was still employed. I spoke with him in the afternoon because there were several ends that have to be connected, especially also the other side coming in. So it was we had to do it one by one. So that was the reason for him taking over this match as intended before as well.
Every good coach has been fired. There's a saying, at least in Danish. I know that Steve's last 3 jobs, I think, ended before time. Has that been in your consideration?
It is actually funny because it's true that being fired in this role is not even something that is bad in your career actually, because it is a bit sad maybe, but it's part of the business, it's part of the deal. So signing a contract also means at some point you will go out, probably not ending your contract. Either you go upstairs yourself because someone buys you out, or you have to go. That's just the 2 natural ways. I can't even remember when someone is just fulfilling his contract.
Thomas Frank?
Yeah, he was one of the last. Actually, you're right.
Not
but it's not a lot of coaches that do it to the end of their contract. To be honest, so it's not. Even though you name one, which is totally right.
But I can only name one.
It's rather uncommon. So, of course, it's good. It's part of the experience being a head coach, and also is part of the experience as a head coach to coming in, to knowing what happened before. What is the staff looking like? Because everyone is affected. I also need to say I'm also affected by the situation. It's never a nice situation that you have as a club, that you have as individual persons, especially for the ones that gets the message, but also for everyone around. So someone coming in, having the experience from both sides actually helps to really say, hey, here I am. Now this is the direction. You're welcome to follow, and let's go for it, because it is. And it will remain a daily business. And tomorrow or the day after tomorrow, it will be already normal that we have a new coach on the line.
But have you looked at the reasons why his jobs has ended the last 3?
Yes, of course. That's part of the background check, and that's part of the assessment that we're doing, of course. And it's not always that you say that is extremely positive, but as I said, it's part of the deal, and we have to focus on the ones what we think. What we bring here and what he can bring in a positive side to it, and that is by far outweighing the things that may be negative. You will not find a resume where you don't have any things where you have questions also.
You said you made the assessment was last week, and then of course yesterday you present Steve Cooper very shortly after the announcement about Frederik Birk. How important was it to have a replacement in quickly? Because I think many Brøndby fans remember last year waiting a long time for you to arrive after CV, and also the process of finding coaches in Brøndby have previously been long?
I think it's important that you have a situation where you can immediately move on, especially seeing what lies ahead. I mean, it's no secret that it is only a couple days that we have for the derby, and then also for the season ongoing. So it was something that was from my perspective more or less mandatory in what we've given ourselves, that we have an immediate replacement on that. And you can imagine that the last days, especially the weekend, was quite busy. So transfer market stopped, and it didn't really stop for me on that in that sense.
Thank you, Ben.
Thank you.
Yeah, thank you.
Thank you.